Hey, Mike with Mike's Bags, and today I am reviewing the Project 5 by 724 Bagger Company. And before we get into the review, I just want to go on a quick little rant here. When I did the review of the Ultra Psycho R, I called out Ultra for their lack of transparency by throwing a bag out there with no information and expecting the consumer to buy it. And I feel like I got to be fair and call 724 the same thing. You know, this bag was a new bag they released, and they basically just put a post up that I saw on Facebook, a picture of the bag, and gave the date and time of the release with no real information on the bag. And as a consumer, I find that maybe a little disrespectful because it's not hard to reference the bag, the materials, the fill, the fullness of the bag, the template size, all that stuff I think is very important to us as consumers. Even speeds, and I get speeds are subjective, right? Speeds vary. My 5-speed might be your 4-speed or your 6-speed, or we don't always agree on the same speeds. But if I'm consistent, if I call this slow slide a 5-speed, and to you it plays like a 4, then every time I reference a 5-speed, it's a little slower. Or maybe yours plays like a 6 or a 5. As long as I'm consistent with my speeds, you can make your adjustments for your personal preference, the way it plays for you. And so it's not that hard to put a speed rating on bags. And you rate bags at normal dry conditions. We know humidity affects them. We know different board conditions, different weathers. But you take kind of the normal conditions that you play on, and that's the speed that I think you rate bags. And I don't think it's that difficult. And as far as materials go, maybe Ultra doesn't want to, or maybe 724 doesn't want to reference Ultra and the Viper R, but there are ways to reference this bag and not actually mention the Viper R. We all know what the materials. They can reference the fast side because it's the same fast side they use on the Project 23, the Anarchy series, I think the Apocalypse uses, so they can reference it's the same fast side, so then you don't have to give a speed. It's the same fast side of those series. If you've played those, you know what you're getting. And I just think as a consumer, I had an expectation of this bag, and when I received it, it wasn't what I expected because 724's changed a few things that I didn't realize, and so I was somewhat disappointed. Not that it was a bad bag, but because I expected something different. And so I think you can, as a company, you can get rid of this disappointment by setting the expectations. When you show a bag, this is what the bag is. This is the type of bag, the materials, the speeds, the template, the fill stuff. This is the type of player we designed this bag for, or this is the style of game we designed this bag for. Give us the information so I can look at it and go, you know what? That's not me. I don't need that bag. But instead, they just throw these bags out there and blindly expect us to go buy them. And I feel like that's not fair. There's a lot of companies do a great job of it. There are companies that do an awesome job of it. Not every company's like this, but I just think companies should do a better job of providing us the information we need to make an educated decision before we purchase the bag. So anyway, let's go ahead and break down this Project 5. I've ran it long enough for you guys. Material-wise, the slow side is that Viper R carbon. Same exact materials Ultra uses on the Viper R. I call it a 5-speed. Initially brand new, it plays a little fast, and once it starts to kind of break down fuzz, it plays about a 5. It plays pretty much consistently a 5 in most all conditions. It's a wonderful material, very hole-friendly for the speed of what it is. It's player-friendly as far as it's very versatile what you can do with it. So 5-speed on the slow side. Fast side, this is that game changer, surefire fast side. Same fast side 724 uses on the Anarchy X, Project 23, the Apocalypse. I think they use a few other bags, I can't remember. It's a fast material. I call it about an 8.5. I think 724 calls it a 9 on some of their other bags. So, it's a fast material. It's fast, sort of controllable, slide the board in pristine condition, great for pushing, collecting, wonderful fast size. Look at about a 5, 8.5 speed. Template-wise, this is a larger template bag, and this is where I think some of the expectations for me change because this is not the typical template of 724 carpet bags. I'm used to the Project 23, Project 13 is more of a medium template, more of a fuller bag. This is a large bag. It's also got a mixed fill, a bead fill. It's different size beads in here. I don't know if there's any flat fill that I can tell in this bag, which again is not typical of 724, a different fill than I was expecting. I love a mixed fill. I love a bead fill. So it's not that I'm disappointed in the fill. Again, it just wasn't what I was expecting from 724. And then lastly, it's a very full bag. Like there's even though it's a large template, there's not a lot of flop here. This is a full bag. It reminds me a lot of those razor bags, the Podium, the Tusk, the Knuckle, those bags that I reviewed. They were large, big, full bags. It's very similar to the Psycho R as far as the template size and the fullness. You're familiar with that. That's how big it is. And so for me, I don't mind a large bag, but I prefer a large bag to be floppy. I don't mind a full bag, but I want my full bag to be more of that medium to smaller size. So when I grab the bag, I butterfly a bag so I can have control over the bag. That's why I do a butterfly grip. It gives me control of the bag. When you get a bag that's this big and this full, the problem comes in is that most of the beads are outside of my hand, outside of my control. So I don't have as much control of this bag as I would if it was just floppier, less fill, heavier fill, less fill. When I grab it, I can put more of the beads in my hand, grip it down, and still, even though the bag is the same template, I've got more control of most of the beads. If it's a smaller, fuller template bag or a medium-sized fuller fill bag, I can grab most of the beads in my hand and really lock the bag down. With this bag being big and full, I find that I don't have the control. Like, so it makes it harder to shape shots. It makes it harder to manipulate the bag like I typically would like to on a carpet bag. And it's one reason why I don't like those larger, fuller bags for that reason. And it leads me into playability on this bag. And this bag is a versatile bag, right? This material, if you throw in the Viper R, most people love it. It's a wonderful material, right? Because it's great. Honestly, it's great for just running bags in the hole. And that's where I think this bag is better designed for, is if you're running bags in the hole. Just sliding bags in, going bag after bag. With this bead fill and this material, it just drips in the hole. It's very hole friendly. When you get up around the hole, I don't remember having a lot of bags left hanging. They usually would kind of drip right in. I will say, being a fuller bag, not having flop, is it's not as forgiving around the hole. I talk about that landing zone and bags that you're off left or right, that corner will go by, dip in, pull it back in, and pull that bag, kind of toilet bowl it back into the hole for you. That's why I like my larger bags to be floppy, because I want that corner to really dip in and grab. This bag being fuller, it doesn't have that dip. So if I was off, and again, if I threw the bag right, it was going in the hole. It's when I was off, when I missed my mark and missed my landing zone, it was a little off one side or the other, and that bag would scoop by. A lot of times, it would just slide right past the hole. If it grabbed, it would spin on the back. It didn't get enough of that corner of the hole to pull it around and pull it back in. And that's where I missed that floppy bag if you're going to go with a larger template. The other thing, though, this bag is wonderful for is playing that dirty style game, because you can control this material. You can throw blockers up there. It makes an awesome block. It's a big bag, large bag. It's a huge block on the board. Blocks it on the hole. Makes it tough to get around. You really have to go through it, go over it. It's tough, especially if you get that blocker over on your opponent's side. As big as it is, you can really get aggressive on your opponent's side, and you don't do anything special. You just come down the middle, clip the back, and take it right in. So it's wonderful for playing that block style game. The reason I say this bag's better for running the hole, though, is I did find this bag to bunch and clog because it's bigger and fuller. If I was trying to collect more than one bag at a time, it would hit. You had two bags sitting up there in the front, especially if they're side by side, and you try to come down the middle and collect them. It would just catch. They would bunch and they would just clog the hole, and then they weren't going in. And that's kind of the danger you get with these really large, full bags. So you end up having to step out and take one bag at a time. Take the one bag, or if it's your opponent bag beside, you collect yours and try to leave theirs. You can't really take them both in. And when I'm playing a dirty style game, I like to put blockers. I like to put a lot of bags in front of the hole, and then at the end, my last bag, clean up 2 or 3 of them and push them in and take them in. That's not really the way you can play this game. So if you're playing this bag, it's a blocker. You want to clean it up, a blocker, clean it up, or throw a blocker up there. Throw a blocker on your opponent's side. You step out, get around, and then come down your last bag. You don't want to leave 2 bags up there, because then it becomes really tough, almost impossible to collect them both. So just keep that in mind. The bags do want to bunch, clog up. But all in all, it is a collectible bag because it is full. It's not going to flop up when you go to collect the corner. You can flip a corner and just take it in. They're not floppy, so they're not going to accordion up like floppy bags do. So they're wonderful for collecting as long as you're clipping one bag at a time. All in all, it is good for playing a dirty style game. However, I wouldn't use this for a full dirty style. If you're going to go full dirty style and you like 724, they've got the Project 13, a wonderful bag. The Project 23, although I think they're discontinuing that bag. I don't know if Project 13 will stick around either. Hopefully it does. But they've got some other bags, the Chaos. Other bags are great for playing that full dirty style game, where this would be more of that hybrid game. You're sliding bags in one round, maybe throwing a third bag blocker, maybe throwing a blocker every 3 or 4 rounds, but you're playing a clean board otherwise. So I think it works for that. It's a solid bag. I don't dislike the bag. There's just certain things that I don't like as much as other bags. And so that kind of leads me to the fact of, would I recommend this bag? And no, I wouldn't. And here's why. If you like this material, which a lot of you do, I would recommend getting the Swag Bags Chaos. I love that bag. Use the same material. It's the same fast side. They just flip it over, use the other side of the fast side. If you don't want a stamp bag, you've got the Logic Prism I reviewed. You got the NFQ AWOL I reviewed. Both those unstamped. Again, use the same slow side. And they're readily available, half the price. They have a better template fill ratio. I just like the way they're set up better than I do the large full bag you get here. If you want to branch out into like that Brotherhood Guardian, which is a sister material of this, I like that bag better. If you go into that clone carpet, then you go into the Southwest Hefes, you go into B3 Coyotes, X Level Lights Out. There's a lot of bags that are using that. Even the Buffalo Saucers review, they're using that clone carpet. Again, I would take all of those over this bag just because I think their template to fullness ratio is much better than what 724 did here. All in all, it's not a bad bag. It's a good bag, a solid bag. I just think there are better options there. And when you factor in availability, which I'm going to go right into, the bags are not really available and they're at the higher end of price. I think there are better options that are more readily available and cheaper, if not almost some of them over half the price of this bag. So availability, 724 does have a website. I think it's 724bagger.com. I'll double check that, put a link description for you guys. Bags are not available. They're always sold out on the website. You just have to wait until 724 and puts a post, usually on Facebook, says, hey, this bag's going to be available this date. this time. Go jump on there. They aren't as hard to get as it used to be when you had to be on there because they sold out in seconds. Now they seem to be more readily available, so you don't have to. It's not a mad rush. If you're there at that right time, you can usually get them. Bags are $115 plus $10 shipping, so $125 shipped to you. So that puts them in that higher price category. Not as high as like a Cornhole Scenario or an Ultra, but it is a higher price by kind of that Buffalo BG Kill Shots price range. It's on the higher price range. That's why I say, there are better options that I like, bags I like better that are more readily available and a cheaper price. That's why, again, I'm not a fan of this bag. And I like 724. This is just one of their bags I'm not as happy about. And listen, if you're buying this bag, you're probably buying this bag because you support what 724 does, and that's fine. If that's what you support and you want to do that, I have no issues with that. But if you're buying a bag for playability and performance, I would recommend one of the other bags that I talked about over this Project 5. So if you like the bag, if you don't like the bag, I always love hearing your feedback. Drop in the comments down below, guys. I thank you so much for support, and I thank you for watching.